Vani Pracharine, Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pashishadeshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you so much for coming. Today is the 4th of July. We enter the 7th month of a year that is passing so quickly. In the 7th month, obviously, we will continue the year-long continuum on the Bhagavatam. We will be doing 7th canto overview and as much in depth as is allowed. As far as the Bhagavad Gita, because we did a compressed course the first 6 months, so the second 6 months, we're going through it again, but now the emphasis will be on formula analysis of the purports. What will it be? Formula analysis of the purports. And that was pretty much the focus of our presentation at the VIG this year. It was more of an in-depth. Prior to this, we've been doing the overview and the breakdown that you get in the 1881. But now we're using a formula to show you how you can access the purports more easily. Okay? It's formulas, and it's amazing how they help you unlock the meaning quickly. Okay, so, but prior to that, I would like to go over some of these points quickly with that Mani Mandala sheet. And there's a purpose to that too, because Damini Mataji is here for a month, and she is in charge of the kindergarten preschool children's program in Mayapur. So we're trying to give her materials to help her set up that program, and if she can do well, hopefully she will have an influence in encouraging some skills that people may not be so familiar with. So do you all have this? Yes. Okay, and what we will do with this and your magic slates, in order for you to understand, especially Damini, those who've been here with us a long time, it's not such a big thing. Okay, now remember, our secret study skill is to reduce everything to a word and, if possible, a code or a number. That way you can go quickly. We want to go through this quickly. So on your slates, just put a little face in the middle. That's you. Okay? It can maybe be a Prabhu, it can be a Mataji. But that is you. You are a TL. What are you? TL. You're a teacher-learner. By example, we teach. No matter who sees us, people will see what we do, and they will leave a samskara. It's true. If you're around a person for a while, you notice you pick up their habits, their gesture, their voice, those impressions. So you teach even if you're not in front of a classroom. Everybody on board with that one? So you are what? Teacher, and you're also... Every moment in the material world is a learning experience. This world has been designed for us to learn how to love Krishna. Right? Everybody agree? Ultimately, that's the goal. So that's you. And you see yourself on the chart. Now, we're going to compress, go around fast. Think of yourself now. Don't think of an abstract, and Mataji's talking about, this is you. So the first thing you have to do is you're going to put an 8. What are you going to put an 8? 8. We're going to just put some numbers really fast. And then after that, we're going to put, you can put little dots if you don't know, you're going to put 10, 20, 30, 50, 70, 90. You can represent some dots. But you see them on the chart. You see those chart numbers there? Okay, they jump by 10s. 10, 20, 30, say it. 10, 20, 30? Then you jump by 20s. Right? 50, 70, 90. Okay? All we're going to do is just say these things. Quick. Remember the idea? Compress, fast. The next thing you're going to see is a 2, a 3, 6, and 7. What are you going to see? 2, 3, 6, 7. Now the reason I'm going over this is because I have to grade you on whether you know this or not and send it into the VIG. Now don't get scared. We were just doing this to help mostly Kamala. But it's important for all of you because I have to explain what I'm doing here and why I do it the way I do it. Okay, all of you wouldn't be coming if you didn't find this was different but helpful, right? These systems, this is my system here on this paper in front of you. I don't concoct it. The references are all there. So let's repeat. You're a TL, and you know 8, and you know 10, 20, 30, 50, 70, 90, and you know 2, 3, 6, 7. Okay, erase it and write that fast. Put your little face. It's you. We're not talking about some abstract. We're talking about the average adult. Or, yeah, adult pretty much. It could be a child also. So we want you to realize that we do these things because we have you in mind. That's the first half of the mind map. Okay? Everybody got those numbers? Were you able to copy them fast? And you can remember them. Okay, turn around to the person nearest you without looking and say those numbers and those codes. You'll turn and say, I am TL8, 10, 20, 30, 50, 70, 90, 2, 3, 6, 7. You have 2 people. You've got your other neighbor there. You got to do both. Govinda Kun's got to work hard today. Okay, everybody got your numbers in place. Because honestly, I have to keep, each time I do this, I have to figure out how to do it more quickly. Much more quickly. Okay, everybody fixed with those numbers? Remember, we're talking about you. Not just Joe Schmo down the road. Chris. Okay, now the other side, you notice this map has a red and then sort of an orange, or yours is just black and white. But it has 3 big divisions. So that was your first division. Okay, now let's erase that. Let's put you again. Because it's comforting to know that whatever learning problems you think you have, everybody has them. Everybody has them. There are a few rare geniuses, but we're talking about the needs of the devotees in Krishna consciousness. We're here to help devotees. Okay, so the other thing now, we see an S, and around the S, we're going to see codes, right? So now we're going to commit MM. What are we going to write? MM, and then 5M. And the next one is 5R. And the next one is MS. And then we're just going around, this is you, MS. And the next one is MN. And the last one is I. You're surrounded by all these little codes. You see them on your chart. And write them on your slate. MM. SM, 5R, MS, MN, I. Now you see an M. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. How many of them have an M in them? 4. 4 have an M. You always have to think, how can I make this easy? Okay? How many have an R? And what's the one I? One I. That's I. Okay, so MM. Then 5 is 2 times. How many times? 2 times. Then MS. That's what they call women now when they don't want to know if they're married or not. MS, right? Ms. Right? You just filled out my bank statement, right? MS. That way, because they don't like your name. Sometimes women think if I'm single and some man sees my name, Miss So-and-so, I'm going to get harassed. Right? So they say MS. They don't know if she's married or not. So all of the ladies here are, if you want to keep it a secret, you go by MS. In the West. Of course, in India, it's Srimati or whatever. MN, you just think of the alphabet, MNOP. I is what you guys are today. This is you, all right? All right, so we have MM, and then 5M, and 5R, and then we have MS, so we don't know if you're married or not, and then MN, the alphabet, and then I. Quickly erase and write these again. Now I'm always trying to think of a way how to go through this chart more quickly. I think this is going to work today. You like this, Downey? Whole idea is how to teach it. Actually, Wilkinson's philosophy is how to teach 4 times the material in half the time. So that means in a class time, you figure out how to teach 8 times as much as you normally would. It's a creative challenge, isn't it? Because today you guys are going to know this fast too, because we got a lot else to learn. We have a lot to learn. So try it a second time. Erase your board, try it one more time. Because this is really important. These are skills. Yeah. And tell your neighbor. Turn and tell your neighbor. Neela Madhava is a real Vaishnava. How are you doing, Ramnam? I know you're smart. You don't need so much. You wouldn't be teaching in college if you had. But this applies to your students. This chart's very helpful because this applies to everybody. Your students may want to know this. Okay, you all have the sacred code. This is our confidential code. Okay? You can do it from memory, Ramnam? You can do it? No, I'm sure you can. No problem. Okay? Let's go to part 3. Clear your slates. The first part was called K. The second part means knowledge. Second part was called skills. And the third part is called V, values. Vishaka Priya said something interesting when she saw this. She said, Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana. Sambandha means knowledge. Abhideya means the process. And Prayojana means the goal. And I said, I wonder if everything else falls into those 3 categories. Because first we have to have knowledge, and then if we have to have knowledge, we have to know what to do with it. And then when we do something, we should have a change of values, right? I think it fits. So sambandha for knowledge. Repeat, sambandha. Abhideya for skills. And prayojana for values. Right, that's the Krishna conscious goal. Okay, so let's draw you again. Make your portrait. Did you do your little portrait? Do a nice little drawing of yourself. Remember, this is you. Makes it more relevant. Now, you have to know SP, and you know what that means, right? Srila Prabhupada. And then BS, what's that? Bhakti Shastri. And then you have to know 7. Not too bad. SP and Bhakti Shastri, BS. In school they say Bachelor of Science if you get a degree, right? Either Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. And then 7. And this is the laws of learning. Okay, erase and do that again. Under BS, you can put the number 12. 12. BS 12. Okay, did we go around the chart pretty fast? Okay, so in our Sambandha section, we had 8, then 10, 20, 30, 50, 70, 90, 2, 3, 6, 7. Great, you know the Sambandha. And in our Abhideya section, we had MM, 5M, 5R, MS, MN, and I. God, this group is good. This is really good. This is easy, is it not? Are you having a good time? Okay, in the Prayojana section, you have SP, BS 12, and 7. All right. Now that we have all locked that in, we expand. Like cotton, we fill in the knowledge. Because now the cotton will stick. Otherwise, it will blow away. All right, back to the Sambandha really fast. This is you. And we'll put the codes again. The first one was 8. And this is important knowledge. In 8 hours, you forget 80% of what you hear. What happens? Right, very serious. Is that not a serious statistic? That's true. That was true that was true in 1930. This comes from a book on public speaking by Dale Carnegie. Still selling. They still sell that book in the bookstores. Famous book. They still do seminars. In that book, he has a chapter on memory. In 1930, he said that 8 hours after a lecture, you, the teacher learner, will forget 80%. Heavy. It's true. Do you agree? Try it. Sit and listen to a class. 8 hours later. You don't even have to wait 8 hours. We'll go 8 minutes late. He's fantastic. I wish I could remember what he said. Everybody, raise your hand if it happens to you. Did you get this on the camera? Everybody, it doesn't happen to you, Govinda Kundyo. Oh, okay. Come on, they want to see the truth here. Okay? This is what you call moments of truth. We're talking about you. That's why we're doing things this way. This is not a crazy way. This is trying to help people offset these statistics. All right. What's 10, 20, 30 mean? Right, retention. This was, I got this from the VTE training, Vaishnav Educational. Yeah, this was their cone of retention. Reading gives you 10% result. How much? 10. Is that a lot? No, you sit and read a book. We talked about that, Dominique. You said you read something. I said, did you make mind maps? You said, no. I said, do you remember anything? And she said, well, it was interesting. You cannot. Just sit from beginning to end. Agree? Raise your hands if you agree. I don't want to just be pushing this on you people. It's true. Sit down and read a book beginning to cover. You know, unless it's an interesting novel or something. Very hard. 20%. Oh, this is just what Dale Carnegie said. I can remember 20% of what I hear. That matches. Did you notice? What about 30? Yeah, if I see it. So will seeing this chart help you? Yes. That's why we do handouts as much as possible. As much as I have time for. Because you see this. Helps. What about 50? See and hear. Then it goes up fast. Because the more you open your channels, you get, if you turn up the volume, you're going to hear it more, right? You're opening up more sensory channels. What about 70? Domini, what's the Spalding method? See? Yes, it's Spalding. She's here to learn Spalding. And guess where they are? In the 70%. That's why it works. See, hear, say, and write. Your retention goes up. That's why we have these colorful magic slates in here. Do you find they help you? You bet. What about 90? Do it. That's why we ask you, turn around and help somebody else. The more you do something, the more you benefit. You benefit, right? Also somebody else benefits. Okay? Everybody agree with that? When you try to help somebody else learn, you benefit. Okay, you've got those numbers in place? We're talking about you now. What is 2? What is 2? Have you ever seen drawings in school of the brain? It looks like a walnut. Walnuts look like they're 2 parts. Your brain looks like a walnut. They're called hemispheres. The world has how many hemispheres? Your brain has how many? This is what side? Left. What's this side? Good. Did you know that before? Left and right. Some of you maybe knew. Did you know they do the opposite things? They do the opposite things. This does one thing, and this does something else. So if you know that, you should learn in such a way that you get the benefit of both sides. Sometimes learning is done so it benefits one side but doesn't help the other. This is the creative, artistic, rhythmic, musical side. Right. Artists, geniuses. Here. This side is skills. Daily, math, speaking, putting on your shoes, life skills, practical, more creative, inventive. And they should work together. If you just do this, you get too carried away, like a balloon. If you just do this, you become very narrow. You need to be both. Okay? Everybody understand that? You are both left and right. So in our classes, we try to expand and include more right brain things than most situations do. Because this creative side helps you remember. Do you agree now? You all see the way we try to do different charts, mind maps. Very right-brained, creative. Okay? So you have how many hemispheres? Left? And right. What's your left one do? Practical. Yeah, put your shoes on after your socks, not before. Right? Put your dhoti on after you shower, not before. There are some geniuses, they're so smart. They have to put the watch on one hand to know if it's the right hand or the left hand. They're so much this way, they can't function that way. And there's some people so much this way, no creativity, just machines. Right? So you need to be a balance of left and right. Yes. Now, the next one we're going over quickly, because I want to be able to say on this sheet that I fill up that the people that are in my class, for the most part, I can give you a number 5. Do you see your little assessment sheet here for the BIG? Yes. Yes. When we go down this sheet, you're going to be seeing, explain the importance of retention packs. Describe the function of right brain hemisphere attributes. If you go to the bottom of page 1, can you see that? You have your sheet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to give everybody a 5. You have your sheets? Because these two things go together. Because my process is based on this system. So number 1, explain the importance of retention facts. Are you able to do that? Why are they important? Because it's the way you should, if you can't remember very well, you should learn in a better way, right? Does that make sense? And if you're teaching, if your students have this problem, you should teach to help them. Everybody understand the importance of the fact? We're not just trying to fill your head with facts. They're important. What about left and right brain? Is that important? Yes. If you do, especially in schools, sometimes they don't value music or art. But that's very important because it activates your other side, and that helps the other side. If I didn't draw this sheet, it would be harder for you to understand this, right? Yes. You can visualize it, yes. Everybody agree? Okay. Number 3. What's 3 mean? Yes. Number 3. You have three regions to your brain. From here to here. How many? 3. You know what reptiles are, right? You see the little lizards in the hot water? This is called reptilian. What's it called? Reptilian. You see the R for that. And the one above it is called L. Limbic. And the one above that is called C. Cortical. So say them. Reptilian. Touch your body. This is you. We're not talking about somebody in the museum. Some prehistoric man, right? This is you. Touch your reptilian. Now touch your limbic. Now touch your cortical. Yes, this is you. Reptilian. Instinct for survival. This person's coming to steal my cell phone. Hold on to your wallet in your pocket in the temple. Right? You run or you fight. So this is called fight or flight. What's it called? Fight or flight. Either you're going to stand your ground and punch the guy out, or you're going to grab your cell phone and your wallet and you're going to run and call the chowkidar, which hopefully will be sitting there. She was in a fight or flight situation, right? Am I making it up? Were you scared a little bit? Very scared. Okay, why is that important? If you're in a situation that's a fight or flight situation, if it's physically unsafe, are you going to be able to think? Right? Could you think of something like a very high spiritual philosophical topic when this guy's trying to steal money? No. So if you're in a classroom where, the teacher's whacking all the kids on the hand for no reason, do you think those kids are learning much? Not possible. You agree? If we said to all of you, put your hands out, and I'm taking a ruler and I'm going to hit your hands, what would happen? You'd say, I want to get out of here, right? Everybody agree? Raise your hand. Right. Can that kid learn something that's really going to be advanced? Not possible. He's either going to freeze out of fear, or he's going to figure out, how can I get out of here? Okay, let's move up on your limbic. These are your emotions. Everybody understanding this chart now? There are some people who are not physically violent, but they're emotionally violent. Agree? Ever met people like that? Oh, come on, you're too stupid to learn. You think that kid's going to be able to learn? What's wrong with you? I sent home the homework, you still didn't get it. What happens at that point? Emotional shutdown, right? In the bottom one, it's a physical danger. In the middle one, it's an emotional danger. Do you think that person can get to higher order thinking? No. And in most classrooms, you get 6 negative comments for every positive one. That's 6 negative comments for every positive. Do you think the kid's going to love school? He's going to hate it. He's going to be afraid, and inside he's going to think, I hate learning. What's C stand for? Cortical. This is where the upper portion of the brain, where the higher thinking takes place, the finer brain tissues here. So if you want to teach higher subjects, higher level thinking, these 2 channels should be open. Everybody agree? Open. If they're blocked, you are blocked. Agree? Understand the importance of the 3? Very important. Very important. And if you're around people who are either physically dangerous or emotionally dangerous, even as adults, agree? Yes. Usually this means mode of goodness people are not this way. Mode of passion people can be insulting. They won't hit you, but they'll insult you. Mode of ignorance people, they might even do physical harm, right? Agree? Yeah. Like that fellow who came into the store, you were not sure he wasn't going to harm you, right? Scary. They want something and you don't know to what extent they're going to do it. Or when those monkeys come when you've got a bag of fruit, are you going to sit and speak philosophy to him? This is not Krishna conscious. You're going to scream and run, right? Everybody understand that? Is this helpful today? Yes. What's 6 mean? This you'll see. This, yes. Now we're talking about, remember we talked about being a better thinker? I'm sure all of you are here because as devotees, Shastra says you have higher intelligence. For someone to take to Krishna consciousness, Shastra says you have to be more intelligent. You cannot do this process if you're not intelligent. You all agree? Yes. And finer brain tissues. And that's why you give children milk when they're little, so those finer, so they can think and understand higher levels of thinking. Everyone sitting here, it has a higher development of consciousness than people running around the world. No doubt about it. Everybody understand that? You're fortunate. The mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhupada. Now, you've got to do something really fast. You're going to put 1, 2, 3, line 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, line 4, 5, 6 on your slate. 6. Got it? And did you notice I drew a flower around that number 6? And I drew a little flower around the number 7? The man who defined these levels of thinking was called Bloom. What does a flower do? Bloom. His name was Bloom. And it's called a taxonomy. You know what a tax is. You pay a tax. That's not the same. Taxonomy means a classification. He classified 6 levels of thinking. What did he do? He classified thinking. So now you have to know what are your 6 levels of thinking. And you will be thinking about this when you study, when you go to a class, you listen to a lecture, when you teach. What level of thinking am I having to adopt right now or use when I'm teaching? Okay? This is do you agree this is important? Because it's not all one, as the Mayavadis might say. It's not all one. And if you look at the Bhakti Shastri Study Guide, you'll see the Burjan based that book on this. Number 1, memory. The ability to memorize. You can put an M here. Remember, use a code. That's easy. The ability to memorize. It takes intelligence to do that. Can the little puppy dog memorize a sloka? No. Yes. It goes around. On this, you'll see. Yeah. The number 6, you'll see knowledge, comprehension. Right. I use the word knowledge. So knowledge in the Bhakti Shastri, knowledge means the ability to memorize the facts. I can also put K. because sometimes they use M, depending on which. I have so many study sheets that go over the same thing. So the ability to remember something. I have to remember that at such and such a time my friend is coming over. I have to memorize a sloka. Memorize in the Bhakti Shastri course, the knowledge section is the ability to memorize a sloka. Above that, I put a C for number 2. You can also put a U. Comprehension. Can I understand it? That takes more intelligence. Have you ever seen people who can say a sloka and don't really understand the sloka? See that? They can memorize. They've got parrots that can say Hare Krishna. Can he understand what he's saying? It takes more intelligence. Are you able to understand what I'm saying right now? That's what we're trying to do. Show people there are higher and higher levels of intelligence. What about number 3? A. Have you ever heard of people who apply the knowledge? They say in the West, there are people who tell you, smoking is bad for you. They'll step out of the room and smoke a cigarette. Did they really apply the knowledge? So it's important in Krishna consciousness, if I know the philosophy but I don't apply it, I'm less intelligent, right? Yes. Have you ever seen that happen in Krishna consciousness? Somebody knows we're not supposed to do that, and what do? They do it. So they're not able to apply the knowledge. Now that may be because for a lot of reasons, habit or whatever. But application takes more intelligence. I know how to use it. And if you don't use it, they say you lose it. You lose the knowledge. So 1 is for memorize or knowledge. 2 is for comprehend. 3 is for apply it, use it. Knowledge without application is useless. It's useless. Guess what? This is all called lower order thinking. Most schools pretty much are down here. Just memorize, memorize, memorize. If you understand it, that's good, but we're not bothering you about that. Do you agree? Memorize, memorize, memorize. Pass the test, pass the test, pass the test. That is all lower order thinking. Now this is called what? Higher order thinking. This takes even more intelligence. So what kind of a person do you want to be? Right. What kind of a way do you want to teach your friends, children, grandchildren? What do you want to do? Higher. Did you notice in Spalding? Higher order thinking. Did you remember that? That's one of her objectives. Higher order thinkers. Those people can do more in life. You agree? If you've got somebody who's good at memorizing, he can maybe run a machine or something, but he can't go up. Intellect is not as great. So number 4 is also A. That's the ability to do what? Analyze. When we study, and today when we get to it, we're going to be analyzing a purport, not just sitting and reading it. Because it takes more intelligence to do what? And if you can analyze it, you get more benefit. You agree? If you can sit and read it, that's good. You passed your 6th grade class. But if you can analyze it, you're more like a college student or a PhD, right? You all agree? Number 4, this is higher order thinking, and you want to develop it in yourself and help your students, children, Even you're a teacher at the university. Your students, if they're analytical, they're better students. You agree? Number 5 is what? S. S. How many people have seen cloth that's called synthetic? Synthetic. I think you have a synthetic cloth. You have it. This is a cotton, but there are some fibers that they put together different fibers. They take different materials and they create something new. Synthesize. That ability takes even more intelligence. Analyze, I can take it apart. Synthesize means I can put new things together. I can take this and this and this and come up with a new package, new product. That takes a thinker, doesn't it? I mean, look at the people that have come up with something like these iPads. I mean, technology isn't the be end and all, but it takes creativity to do this. You agree? It takes creativity to do this. How do they come up with all this stuff? Analyze, take it apart. Synthesize, put it together. E is for evaluate. I can assess it. And as devotees, that's important. What mode do I see? Do I want to associate with that mode? Or say, no, no, no. You all agree? Do I want to assess? If I see something in the mode of ignorance, do I want to associate with it? No. If I see something in the mode of goodness, do I want to associate with it? Yes. If I see someone even above the modes, do I want to get their mercy? Yes. You have to evaluate to do that. That takes the most intelligence. 1 is what? Memory. 2, comprehension. 3, apply it. 4, analyze it. 5, synthesize it. 6, evaluate it. Okay? This is taking a little while, but is it helping all of you? Yes, this is so important. Okay? And 7, let's go to that one really fast. Turn first to your neighbor before we do content dump. And tell this is so important, tell your neighbor what kind of a thinker you want to be. Remember, this is you. Even though we've done this, Rasamrita, is this helpful today? Because I'm... Oh, yeah. Reading doesn't do much. Almost... to understand this? Do you speak English? So is this a little confusing or you can understand? It's new for you, huh? This is pretty much basic Western knowledge for 20 years, 50 years. In India, they're not so much aware of this. But in the West, pretty much standard training to know the levels of thinking, the 7 intelligences, take advantage of retention facts. But it needs to be introduced more here, especially among devotees, because for us, studying Prabhupada's books is very important. So we try to take advantage of this in the way we teach and study. It's not just a novelty. It's quite purposeful. Is this helpful, Dominique? You're actually getting a very compressed teacher training course today. All of you. They're all books on any one of these subjects. Thick books on intelligences, thick books on Bloom's taxonomy. You're getting a very compressed course. Oh, yeah. In the West, this is standard training, standard. They've known this for years. They use it. They teach it. They're expected to do it. They're expected to do it. Here, it's not so well known, but it helps. Okay, everybody know and where you want to be? Evaluating, right. All right. Now, there are 7 places in your brain. How many? 7. Now, remember you had 2 sides, but you have 7 places, and they have been able to identify them because of maybe stroke patients or accident patients. They find if there's an injury in a certain part or a stroke, maybe the person's vision is impaired, or their speech may be impaired, or their hearing. So they have found out that what your brain does, they have areas. What does the brain have? Areas. It's not all one. It's not all one. Your speech is maybe, I don't know the sections, I've seen pictures of it. Maybe speech is here, maybe hearing is here, maybe seeing is here. And they found out from stroke, if you have a stroke and it affects some portion of the brain, then that function is debilitated. You understand that point? So they now have designed the understanding of 7 intelligences. 7I. What's 7I? They have found that each and every one of you has 7 major what? Did you know that? You have 7 major intelligences. And it makes sense because we know we have our major, from our philosophy, we have 5 senses: seeing, hearing, speaking, right, smelling, right. So they have found that people predominantly, by nature, are 1 or 2 of them. Each one of you sitting here, one of those intelligences will be stronger in you than the other ones. You understand that? Okay. So, the importance of this is that in a classroom, the teaching has to be presented in such a way that different types of learners can benefit. What has to happen? Different types of learners. Okay, so here they are. And they use the word smart. Some people are word smart. Right? They read, they like to read books, they speak. All of the people who give classes, like Ram Nama, he's word smart, isn't he? They're word smart. Yes. Hari Ram. And what's the other one? Mukunda Datta, the Sanskrit scholar. They're word smart. They read a lot. They speak well. They speak well. They don't have problems speaking. They don't get up there and I don't know what to say. They could, like, what's his name again? Ram Nama? Hari Ram. That's you, Ram Nama. Well, you speak well too. But this guy, he can go on and on and on and on and on. And my golly, they're word smart. Is everybody like that? No, we've got a lot of people in here, they come quietly and they sit and listen. But that doesn't mean they're not smart in another way. Okay? Some people are number smart. What are they? What are they? The mathematicians, right? You agree? Is everybody here good at math? But there are mathematicians, aren't there? Some people are picture smart. What are they? The artists. Yes. They do well if they see a picture. Or they like to draw pictures. Is everybody here a good an artist? You can improve these areas with the right training. But predominantly, some people just from birth, they love to draw and paint pictures. You know, the Russian devotees, so many of them. They're picture smart. Okay? Some people are body smart. Now, we don't mean the models. We mean the sports people and the actors and the, in a play. They're body smart. Is everybody here able to get on the stage and do a dance? No. Right? Or play sports? Right? A special thing. Or even be able to ride a bicycle well. Even those things, your body's smart. They're coordinated. Word smart, number smart, picture smart, and body smart. Body smart. Okay, here's another one. M, music smart. Rhythm, they can hear. Musicians. Is everybody here a good musician? But there are a lot of them around in the temple doing kirtan all day, playing harmonium, singing 2 hours in front of the deities. They're musicians. If you were asked, if any one of us here asked, can you please go do the next kirtan for 2 hours in front of Radhesham? Forget it. No one will walk into the temple if I tried that. Right? Doesn't work. Okay, so far we've got 5 out of 7. 2 more. We're going to have P again. Some people are people smart. They know how to get along with people. That's not that common, isn't it? In fact, it's pretty rare. You find people that can get along with everybody, right? They work in companies and they handle the customers, the complaints. Like Kusha has to do that. She has to handle all the complaints that come into the office. You have to be people smart to be in a spot for that any time at all, right? In the West they have public relations. Some guy that's like this, he's not going to fit into that job very well. Right? So word smart, number smart, picture smart, body smart, music smart, people smart. And the last one is a little bit like maybe what we want to be as Krishna conscious devotees. S, we want to become self-realized, right? Self-smart. These people are very internal. They reflect a lot. They may not say much, but they think. They're deep. They like to write maybe their diaries. They may not say much to each other, but they observe. And I can even see in a group like that, I can see which people, I know they're very intelligent, but they don't let on much, right? So a teacher looks in the classroom and she sees all these different types of learners. She has to be able to present material in such a way that draws out the best in everybody. You all agree? Some children may want to draw the subject. Some people may want to write a story about it. Some people may want to make a play, a drama. Some people may want to convert it into a mathematical table. Some people want to sing it. Somebody else may want to just explain it to all the other children, and you all agree, it's true. So every one of you is mostly one or two. But the idea is you should try to develop all of them more. You can. Okay, everybody follow this okay? Is this helpful? All right. What we're going to do now is, because the clock goes faster than my pacing, and I don't think we're going to write yet on our Excel chart. Well, maybe we will. How many of you plan to come again next time? It's a problem when we hand out materials and then people don't come and then we keep handing them out. Okay, let us apply some of this now to the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. And on your slates, we're going to teach you the formula. You have your formula? You have a magic slate? You can take a book and start to read it. But guess what? You won't get as much out of it as if you apply the magic formula. What are you going to do? You're going to apply the magic formula. Now, the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita is actually a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. And it is so brilliant that it comprises almost the entire philosophy. Here you have this little booklet, which they sell, book distribution. But if you read the Bhagavad Gita, I'll bet many people would skip this. How many of you would probably just skip the introduction? Raise your hand. It's okay, be honest. Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of text and probably doesn't say anything I need to know. Right? Anybody think that? When you get a book, oh, the introduction, let me just get into it and save time. But actually, this introduction, I don't remember how many pages. Can you count? Check to see. How many? 40 pages? 48 pages. This is what you would call a very long essay. Would you not? I don't know how many words are here, but this is probably a long essay. Maybe in college, your professor would ask you to write a long thesis paper. This would be a thesis paper. 48 pages, right? How would you like to know how to do this better? Right? This, you look at this and you think, okay, maybe I just start with chapter 1. Let's get into it. This looks a little too heavy for me and dry. But if you know the magic formula, you realize, my golly, the whole philosophy's here. Okay? And in a short amount, even in 48 pages, as opposed to, I don't know how big the Gita is. Is it 700 pages? How many pages in the whole Bhagavad Gita? Quite a few pages. But what if you were to read 48 pages with the magic formula and you got the essence of the philosophy? That would be smart, wouldn't it? It would be smart. Okay, here are your formulas. Ready for your codes? You all like formulas? We use them all the time, right? We just learn numbers and things like that. Okay. Here's your first code. What's your first one? GS. Great samosas. That woke everybody up. Oh. Did you notice? Everybody said, wow, I wonder if that's what she brought for prasadam today. Great samosa. Okay. GS. We're just going to put the codes, okay? TS. Terrific Sandesh. Everybody's awake now. Wow, this is sounds like there's a feast at about 5 o'clock. Great samosas and terrific sandesh. This will help you remember, right? E. Ecstatic sweet rice. Great samosas, terrific sandesh, and ecstatic anything, right? Ecstatic everything. Let's put this. Ecstatic everything. Everything's ecstatic. What a feast. Anybody ever had a feast like that? Sometimes feasts are like that. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's really yummy. I don't know why I'm talking about food. Maybe I didn't have enough for lunch. Maybe I'm losing too much weight or something like that. Getting too thin. Great samosas, terrific sandesh, ecstatic, and oh. Okay. And we're going to be using numbers like 1, 2, 3, of course. So you got those? Okay. So we're going to get off the food connection now. GS? General statement. What's GS? It's a general statement. Are you having fun? He's smiling. This is a different kind of a class. Very different. What's GS? General statement, right? TS. Topic sentence. What's TS? The topic sentence. Now, you're all going to become what we call active readers after this. What kind of readers? Active readers. Because before that, you were readers, but maybe not too much was sticking. Is that true? It didn't stick. It just sort of rolled off. The way water rolls off a lotus flower or something, right? It just, you don't want it to, but it just rolls off. But now we want it to stick. And this is the way it sticks, by being an active reader. And you know, you're analyzing. Remember, we're talking about higher order thinkers? You're going to be able to analyze. And if you have the code, it'll help you. General statement, topic sentence. E stands for examples. That's easy, right? Examples. It can also stand for explanation. It can also extend, if you want a fancy word, elaboration. You make it more elaborate. You elaborate on something. You say more about it. Like I can say, for instance, Brahmini's sari is very pretty. It's pale blue. It has soft pink flowers. I'm elaborating. I made a statement. What was my statement? Brahmini's sari is very beautiful. Now, example 1. It is blue. It has soft pink flowers. It's all set on silk cloth. I said 3 things about Brahmini's. So now you get a picture, right? Oh. Now I wrap it up and I say, I think she looks very nice in this sari. That's my opinion. Do you see how I did that? Guess what? That's the formula for writing. That's what writers do. They make a statement. They give some examples. You have to give at least 3. 2 is not enough. 3, up to 8. After 8, you better make another paragraph. And then you end it with your what? Opinion. Now, was that very hard? Okay. Now, if you have more than one paragraph, like this is 48 pages, the general statement is usually at the very beginning. But each paragraph will start with a topic sentence. There will be what? Examples. You've got to prove your case. And often there will be an opinion. Now, with such a long paper, you may not get the opinion so much along the way. But at the end of this introduction, Prabhupada quotes what we didn't read today, the Gita Mahatmya. And what does the Gita Mahatmya end with? Right? There should be only one God. There should be only one book. There should be only one mantra and one service. That's the final opinion. Do you understand how it works? So now you're sort of going to be looking for these things. You agree?
Yes.
Oh, Mataji told me this is the way writers are supposed to follow this formula. Maybe if I look for it, I'll understand it, and maybe I'll make it actually entertaining practically to look for it. You all agree? Let's make a food comparison. Let's say you've never had a gulab-jamun in your life, and someone gives you one, and you don't know anything about cooking Indian food. So the level at which you appreciate it would be taste. But what if you go to somebody and say, can you teach me what's in there? Tell me what's in there. And the person said, well, there's powdered milk, sugar, it's cooked in ghee. Then your appreciation goes to what? Knowledge. Then you say, can you teach me to make one? So you go to the kitchen and you make one. Then your appreciation goes to actual doing. Who gets more benefit out of the three people? The person who can make one. He can even tell, oh, these gulab-jamuns are even better than that person, right? He can evaluate. So when you use this formula, guess what's going to happen to you as a reader of Prabhupada's books? What will happen to you? You will be able to appreciate it more. You agree? Is that important? Yes. Now, I want to take a moment here. 5:40, we're 1 minute over. I was playing something in my room before I came up. And Prabhupada was saying, if you want to go back to Godhead, you should do this. Do you want to know what that was? Yes. How many want to go back to Godhead? Now, I'll just stop again. Before he got to this point, he said, in the whole world, people read books, literatures, newspapers, because they're interested in things, and that will be what they think about. If you want to go back to Godhead, you want to think about who? Krishna. He said, therefore, it is essential to read literatures about him. Now, what has Prabhupada been asking the devotees to do? Read my book. Read my book. Do you think he just wants us to do that for no reason? Because he says, if you read my books, Your mind will be what? Thinking of. So this is why we're trying to help everybody know the formulas. So I'm going to back this up a little bit.
He does not.
I don't know what's happening here. It's not playing, huh? Maybe start it again? Well, something happened here with the computer. Anyway, yeah. I couldn't believe it. Just as I was ready to bring it down, Prabhupada was saying, if you want to go back to Godhead, you have to read the Vedic literatures. Because otherwise, what will your mind be thinking? Mundane thoughts. Even if it's simple things like, oh, I have to cook this and I have to do this, and you have to fill your mind with Vedic literature. I don't know why that's not playing. We tried to carry it up and I kept, yeah, I know, I too, and I hoped that that would, and it was right at that spot, and I thought, that's why I don't want to move this. Anyway, that was the point. Now, we didn't get to the exercise, but can you keep your sheets till next time? Because from this point on, we will take paragraphs, and we will very quickly just take one word, and we'll see where's the topic. Sentence, it's usually the first one. How many examples? Is there an opinion? Each paragraph, and you have a column for each paragraph. You have enough for 8 and 16, 32 paragraphs. There are 78 paragraphs. We can probably even break this up in half. You can go through this book, this introduction, and you will know the philosophy. And you will see how Prabhupada develops it. First, he tells you why he wrote the Gita. Then he tells you the spirit with which you must read it. Then he establishes why Krishna is God. Then he establishes why you need to be a devotee to understand the Gita. He develops the whole thing systematically. And then he starts touching upon the 5 truths presented in the Gita, and he develops, it's unbelievable. It's very logical. Now, how many of you ever read that and would have thought that or figured it out? When you see the whole picture, you analyze what Prabhupada is doing. You analyze each one. This will open up the door for you. You all agree? And you can analyze each one by TS, topic sentence. How many? Oh, please don't write in that. Oh, that's your notebook. I thought, no, in our books, yeah. You can do that if you buy your own little book. They're 15 rupees or 20. You can, on the side in the margin, you can put TS, example 1, example 2, example 3. You can put A for an analogy. Right? Oh, here's an opinion. Here's an opinion. And the whole thing ends with the opinion from the Gita. Do you notice that? One general statement. General statement is before you start everything. That this Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Vedic literature. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We call it as conclusion.
Conclusion, a little bit different. A little bit different. Conclusion is often used, a conclusion. Yeah, opinion maybe, because opinion is even stronger, and persuasion, you must do it. But conclusion is true, because when you develop something, just imagine, Prabhupada said these are law books, right? A lawyer has to go to court and he has to argue his case. And he has to convince the jury and the judge, right? So a writer does the same thing in his paragraph. He makes his statement, right? He builds his case. This is evidence, right? When we said E could mean example, it could mean evidence, it could mean elaboration. He has to convince the jury to come from here to here and accept his conclusion. You would like one paragraph as an example? Okay. And there are 3 ways you build your case. By references. What's the first one? Yes. Where can I back it up? And of course for us it's from Shastra. Second is by, they call it pratyaksha. What can I see around the world? Examples around me to prove my point. And the third one is called anuman, logic. Those are the 3 ways you build your evidence. Okay? So let's take a look. Shall we start with the first paragraph? Now, does this seem more interesting when you're going to read now? Because if you read and do this, 2 things will happen. You'll see how Prabhupada follows the formula, and you'll see what is really being said. Just reading through, you may not catch it. You get the idea? But if you know the formula, you will catch it. Just as if you know how to make a gulab jamun, when you eat it, you'll know exactly what they put in it. Higher level of appreciation, too, right? Can you imagine when Jamuna would taste something, the famous cook? Jamuna would know, oh, this is a very good piece of sandish. She would know, right? So the first paragraph of Prabhupada's introduction. Everybody got your little finger? Now I'm going to identify these sentences for you. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. Now here he's giving what we call a definition. Okay? Now here we're getting your general statement. Ready? It is the essence of Vedic and one of the most important in Vedic. Now, do you see why he said Gita Upanishad? Because now he's telling you that this is one of the most, what? Important Upanishads. Actually, the way Prabhupada writes is so brilliant, it just flows. One sentence. Do you see what's happening? Because here you say, okay, Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. So what? But when he identifies that this is the essence of Vedic knowledge, that means it's the most important part, and one of the most important Upanishads in. So this is your what? GS. And you've learned 2 things now. It's the essence, and it is one of the most important Upanishads. Well, in this case, your first sentence is really conveying the understanding that Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad, because if you said Gita Upanishad is the essence of Vedic literature, most people wouldn't know what you're talking about. You get the idea? Yes. So the first thing he had to do was establish what Bhagavad Gita is also known as, right? If he would have started with the Gita Upanishad, would you have known what he's talking about? Maybe not. Okay? Now, the rest of the paragraph will be, let's look for examples. Of course, there are many in English on the, and one may, the necessity for another. So now he's establishing, wait a minute, this is another Bhagavad Gita. I'm not just talking about Bhagavad Gita in general. I'm talking about why is there another one? Does that, you understand his logic here? Now he's got you curious. Why another Bhagavad Gita? There are hundreds. Now, this present edition can be explained in the following way. Now we've got E for what? E can mean explanation. E can mean example. E can mean elaboration. E can mean evidence. Now Prabhupada is, notice how he's stringing you along. First he tells you it's the essence, it's the most important of his Upanishads, but why another one? And now he's going to tell you why this edition can be explained. Because Prabhupada's edition is different. It's different. All of you agree? You wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Now, are you all finding that this is helping you understand how to analyze a paragraph? Step by step. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English translation of Bhagavad Gita. Now here, if you tell people a personal example, they listen. Right? Oh, an American lady just asked me the same question. So he's giving a rhetorical question, and he's giving you a practical example of an American lady who came and asked him, could he recommend a Bhagavad Gita? Let's look at the next sentence. Of course, in America, there are so many of available in. Now he's going to compare contrast. But as far as I have, not only in, but also in India, none of them can be said to be. Oh, now he's setting up a challenge. He doesn't say most of them. He says, what does he say? None. That's brave. Right? When you say none of them, that's absolute. So now Prabhupada's setting up a challenge, right? Do you find this more like a drama? It sort of looked like a bunch of words, but now it's a drama, right? But as far as I have seen, not only in America, but also in India, of all places, the book came from there. How can you say this? But as far as I have seen, not only in America, but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be, because in almost every one of them, the has expressed his own Now notice the word opinion. Remember we're talking about at the end? Opinion. Without touching the of as it is. Did you see what he just did? He defines Bhagavad Gita. He tells you it's the most important book. It's the essence, most important of the Ishopanishads. He then says, but there are many commentaries. Why another one? Now he gets you, oh, maybe you didn't even know there were many commentaries. So why another one? And then he uses a personal example that some lady asks him the same question. Can you recommend a Bhagavad Gita? And then he lets him have it. In my opinion, although there are many editions in both America and India, none of them is authoritative. And then he tells you why. Right? Because the author has expressed his own opinion without touching the spirit. Now notice he uses the word spirit in here at the end, and he will start the next paragraph with what? Spirit. I mean, it's too brilliant. Do you all agree? Do you follow what I'm saying? Yes. It's genius. Yes. It's brilliant. Without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, and he didn't even say that's the title of his book. He just says Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now, did you all have fun reading the first paragraph? Did you see the difference? Take your formula, check your statement, and when you read Prabhupada's Purports, you will not believe it. We could have done the same thing with the next one. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. That's his what? His statement, his topic sentence now. Because your general statement is the beginning, each paragraph will now be your topic sentence. So now this paragraph is about the what? The spirit. Now what is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita? And then he develops his explanation. You all follow? It's pretty amazing. And at the very end, the last sentence usually is the wrap-up one. Let's take a look at the last sentence. Oh, it starts with therefore. What does therefore do? Give you an opinion. Are you surprised? Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is by the of Godhead himself. Amazing. Along the way, and in between he gives an analogy. If you go to a doctor, you have to follow the prescription. Do what the doctor says, not what a friend tells you. The Bhagavad Gita has to be taken in the same spirit. Krishna's establishing what he wants. It should be taken in the same spirit. You all understand how it works? General statement or topic sentence, build the case, and give an opinion. Okay? We've run over time. Please forgive me. Keep your sheets. Next time we'll come, we will go through most of the paragraphs here with that in mind. You will put the points on your Excel sheet chart, and you will put TS, example 1, example 2, example 3. A, if there's an analogy, like here. If you go to a doctor, that's an analogy. It's not just an example. It's an analogy. Very powerful. Did you all find this helpful today? Okay. So we'll all say Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanibo, Vaishnava. And our flight attendant is sleeping, so his super. Those you do not keep, yeah. You do not keep the Mani Mandala chart? No. Those have to come back. And you do not keep the VIG charts, because these are classroom. You keep your Excel sheet, because you have to put your name on it. But if you come next time, what do you have to do? Bring it. Now, if you haven't put your name on it and you don't know if you're going to come, maybe you should bring it back. Because I can't keep printing paper. How many of you think you will come back next Friday? Are you sure, Govinda Kund? You can do this at home. I give you the piece of paper. Ram Nama, you're coming back, right? You're here for a while. He's the teacher. He's back and forth. How about you, Bharti? Do you coming, Ken? Your son is coming. Okay. But we'll let you have the sheet of paper. Because maybe you can do this at home a little bit. You have time? You like this process? You like it with the reading, because this will help you. Now you're going to be active reader, not just a reader. Okay? You coming next time? Jive.